I've been on a brief hiatus lately. Last week I haven't really made that much content. I haven't made any content last week. I was supposed to have something lined up, but shit happens. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys join that Discord community. The link will be in the description below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, as my TikTok is blowing up with Warhammer content. Yeah, I've been into Warhammer lately, and people like it, and people have been following me on TikTok because of my Warhammer videos. It's just for fun, really. And also make sure you guys follow me on the podcast, Tabletop Cyberpunk. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other places that you get podcasts. You know how that works. It's the 21st century. If you don't know how to find a podcast, message me. I'll help you out. Make sure you guys send me all of your questions for Night City Council as well, JonJonTheWise at gmail.com. If you guys aren't aware of what that is a show that I do with James Hutt from Martel Saurian Games, one of the game designers for Cyberpunk Red. And we talk about Cyberpunk Red, and he answers questions from the community, and we just have a fun old time. So if you have any questions that you want answered, make sure you guys send me that. And also, last but not least, the Patreon. Patreon.com/JonJonTheWise is the best way to support your boy over here. Thank you to all my patrons for your wonderful support. I love you guys. I seriously appreciate everything that you guys do. And yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Everybody, thank you for coming into this live chat, for being a part of it. The trash truck will be driving by soon, so it will get super loud. I'll try to mute the microphone when that happens. Yeah, man, it's last week I took a little bit of a break. I was supposed to interview John Kovalevsky the week before for my podcast. It didn't happen because of real life shit. It was not the first time, but it was one of the times where work really fucked up. My like real life work really fucked up my situation with my hobby. And if John is upset, I understand. There's nothing much I could do about it, even though I had a good excuse. An excuse is an excuse. It's like assholes. Everybody has them, and they all stink. So that's that. But moving forward, I have a beautiful, very special surprise for you guys at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. It involves Cyberpunk Red for sure. If you guys haven't seen the development map for what's going on with Artel Saurian and Cyberpunk Red, the next few things that are coming out is a data pack, which basically has all the DLCs, including Elflines Online, plus some little extra stuff, some maps, some scream sheet adventures. All kinds of really cool stuff is coming from Artel Soren Games in that data pack that's coming out. Then they're also working on Interface Red, which is a magazine from back in the day, Interface, made by Thaddeus Howes and Chris Hockabout, old school Cyberpunk 2020 guys. If you guys find those Cyberpunk 2020 interface magazines, I mean, they're so rare, so rare. What's up, Mr. Fogel? Good to see you, buddy. It's so hard to find those magazines, man. But anyway, they have some cool stuff. There's like special custom rules for running like a Cthulhu scenario in Cyberpunk. There's all kinds of really cool stuff in those interface magazines. It was basically a fan made magazine that became like semi official or official. And Artel Soren is like, hey, let's reboot it, bring it back, and do it for Cyberpunk Red. I don't know if Chris and Thaddeus are a part of it. I think they're not. Um, but it's still cool to see it come back. Good morning, Night City. What's up, Mr. Soy Sauce? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, and other than Interface Red, they have Black Chrome coming out. And there was one more thing that I forgot. Oh, the net running cards. I mean, that's amazing. Cards for net running. I got to start getting in person games going again. The problem is with COVID, things got really fucked up, especially with this Delta variant. It's like everybody's hanging out with their handful of friends. You know, you have your close friends, and you're like, I'm just gonna hang out with my close friends. I'm not gonna do anything public. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I haven't played Cyberpunk in over 2 weeks. My Patreon game is tonight. And if we don't play tonight, then I believe it'll be 2 weeks or three. It'll be 2 weeks, right? Yeah. And when I don't play Cyberpunk, it's a big problem. I've realized that if I don't play Cyberpunk, I don't feel inspired because I'm not actively playing in a game that inspires me to write and prepare, and then that gives me ideas for my videos. So if I'm not playing Cyberpunk, I find it really difficult to be involved with it when there isn't anything new. You know what I mean? What's up, Punk Generator? Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, so tonight is my Patreon game. We are back. We are still in the nightclub in the combat zone called Snapjack's Bar, and it's really fun, man. The it's reached like a point where once we finish this arc or that area, that setting, hopefully, it ends with a big boom and bang. Then we're going to be taking a little bit of break, doing a little bit of downtime and then come back with a new arc, basically. And that's like season one, basically, is going down. I just realized that we've been doing like 12 sessions. If you ever need a guest voice, let me know. LOL. Well, Mr. Fogel, I might actually need people. I'm going to be inviting other patrons. I don't know if you're part of the Patreon, but I'm going to be adding patrons to come on and do some extra guest stuff. So we'll see how it goes. What's up, Taylor? Good to see you, buddy. Hope everything's going well with you and the con save. Twiggy, my buddy, I have your package right here. I'm not going to dox you, so wait, let me make sure. Yeah, there's no. Got your package right here. I'll be sending it over. I'm going to go to the post office after this and hopefully send it over, all right? But yeah, personal update. Took my kid to Chuck E. Cheese for the first time yesterday. He fucking loved it. Oh my god, dude. Can you imagine going to Chuck E. Cheese for the first time? But yeah, he went to Chuck E. Cheese for the first time. He loved it. And had a great time. I had a great time seeing him overjoyed like that. And Charles Entertainment Cheese, exactly. Is that his actual name? Chuck E. Cheese is Entertainment is his middle name. That's great. But yeah, other than that, uh, the reason I've really been into Warhammer, other than the fact that I like the game, is my army has a new codex coming out this weekend, so they're getting like an update, a new version. So it's been swimming in my head, like ideas of the game. It's been overtaking my mind. So once I get the book, I read it and I get involved with it, then I'll probably push it to the side a little bit. But I have some ideas for Cyberpunk to be getting into that. And I accidentally kind of blew up my TikTok. Like I post TikToks of my Warhammer stuff, and I think there aren't that many people on TikTok for. There's definitely not, like, I'm probably one of like three people or two people on TikTok for Cyberpunk, but I'm probably one of like 20 people or 15 people for Warhammer, maybe even less actually, maybe 10. It was totally by accident. I'm just like painting my little guys. I posted on TikTok and shit, it's like kind of blowing up a little bit. Not blowing up, you know what I mean. I didn't expect anybody to start following me, and I got like 400 followers plus. So so that's kind of happening. It's funny, it's cool, but yeah, it's the same formula that I do for Cyberpunk. It's if I'm having fun, then I do it. If this leaf blower in the background is annoying, let me know, guys. I don't even know where it's coming from. It's like a ghost leaf blower. I have no idea where the guy is. I don't see him. Oh, now I see him. No, that's not him. They're doing some gardening over here. That's what you get when we're out in the wild. Warhammer looks amazing, but don't think it's for me. I think it's amazing though. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's a big thing. I'm going to be watching on my phone while I wait to get a wisdom tooth pulled by the local Ripper Dog. That's great. You and me got to collab and do some 40k battles for videos. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Right now I'm just having fun with 40k. I'm not really looking into doing any content other than my TikTok stuff. But all that TikTok stuff is I'm not making the content for TikTok. I'm just doing it and I'm posting it on TikTok. Like they're commissions for people. Mr. Soy Sauce, I'm too poor for Warhammer, so I'm learning how to play it on Tabletop Simulator. That's how I learned how to play as well, dude. So there's nothing wrong with that. Setting up a game of Cyberpunk Red. Any advice on my first game? Are you a game master? Sounds like you're a game master. The first thing I would say is make sure you have the range DV chart, which is the difficulty value chart depending on what range enemies are in for combat. That's a must-have. You got to have that handy. If you have a net runner, then make sure you have the net running section handy as well, and make sure you have the skills section of the book handy as well, because there's going to be a point where your players are like, "Can I roll to do X or Y?" And you got to come up with a skill that best goes with it. So it's good to have the reference there. You are GM. Make sure your players are compatible. To be honest, not the PCs, the players. Yeah, that's all personal stuff. I've assumed that you and your players all know each other. You're playing. I don't know the exact dynamic of it is, but assuming that you guys all know each other or are excited to play with each other, then just the basic stuff. But I would definitely tell you that you should definitely just rule of cool is the number one thing. The rule of cool is very important. That rule is basically that whatever is cool trumps the actual rules. And Artel Sorin will tell you the same thing. They'll tell you play that way because that's what makes it more fun. Instead of trying to figure out the mechanics on how you can do something, if it's legal, illegal, just think logically, just think what would be fun, just think what would be a cool thing to do or a cool thing to allow my players to do. And don't stress the small stuff because that stuff is not worth it at the end of the day. It's all about having fun. And as other people have said, I have great videos. Well, they say I have great videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch. I have a good session zero. If you guys are meeting for the first time, you definitely want to do a session zero. And what session zero basically does in Cyberpunk, I've seen it done in other games, but the reason it's important in Cyberpunk is you want to know how the players are connected to each other, connected to your story. And that tells you everything. I don't care what gun you have, I don't care what armor you have, what kind of cyberware you have. I want to know where you come from, what you're going to do in a dangerous situation, what are your motivations, what's your history, because once we put all of those together, we get a story in itself. If you're a solo that is an ex Arasaka brainwashed, and that's you Nihilus. I know you're like, oh, you're mentioning me. If you're an ex Arasaka goon that was brainwashed into being an Arasaka goon, and then you were awakened and you ran away from the facility and you're on the run, that's your story as a solo. Then you got another guy who is a net runner who used to work for a corporation as well and was their like IT guy, and now he's gone rogue. Well, both of you worked for a corporation, so maybe we can say he worked for Arasaka. Maybe you guys knew each other. Maybe he worked in the same facility, and that's how you guys can connect to each other. It's up to you if you want to do that or not, but I found that to be so fun for session zero. And then you also want to end session zero with a little bit of role play, because talking about your players and your characters is one thing, but then at the end, you don't want to end the day like, all right, well, we talked about everybody, now let's get out of here. Now you want to get something going, get some kind of basic, really easy scenario. Hey, somebody is paying you 1,000 eddies to go kill this guy. He's a gang leader. He lives in the combat zone. Go kill him. It's easy. That's easy. Go pick up this car. Go deliver this thing to this person. Go spy on this corporate. Go to the corporate zone. Easy stuff that doesn't really have so much surface value. It's really just about it just has surface value basically. It's not very in depth. You're just going, you're doing a thing so you guys can stretch your legs and feel out the dynamic of the party. That's what I recommend. Yup, fun more important than worrying about technicalities. Yeah. Sorry, this guy's like, he's literally behind my car now. Maybe you're a road Viking whose family was killed by Corp, which would allow even more cooperation. Make sure there's at least one central thing that gives a player. Good advice, thanks. No problem, Colby. Have fun. Come back. Let us know how it went. I would love to know next week on our live chat how it went. And if you have any questions or concerns or comments, let me know. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a wonderful week playing. I hope your Cyberpunk games have been going well. I hope you guys have been finding games. I know it's hard to find games, especially in person, but I hope that's been going well. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I don't really have much to add in the Cyberpunk universe. I did get a private message from somebody, one of my supporters, saying like, "Hey, would you do a video on your house rules?" And I think I'm gonna focus on that. I think house rules is really important. But yeah. Oh, Twiggy, your D&D campaign is done. There's no update. That campaign is gone. From last time I heard, all those toxic players are gone, and it was a big deal. So that D&D campaign is kaput. If it's that same one that you're talking about. But basically, yeah, it's been crazy trying to figure out how I'm gonna be inspired to make new content and stuff like that. It's really difficult when you don't play. I have a question for you guys. Have you guys ever? Yeah, it's gone, but two of the guys and a new third come over for board games. Oh, there you go. Sounds like you can maybe revive it. Maybe you can revive it then. My question for you guys is: how do you guys deal with problem players? And I don't have a problem player right now, which is a godsend, dude. It's such a great thing to have. No, it's so great to not have a problem player. And I have set 6 players and a seventh one that spectates and does like voices and stuff like that. And all of them are good. All of them are respectful. We all have fun with each other. It's amazing. But every now and then you get a problem player. I'm not a problem player. No, you're not. No, no. So your campaign is all I got now. Well, hey man, like I said, everything's been really good. We've had 11 or 12 sessions together, and we haven't had anything major happen, and really nothing even minor. There was one thing with one of my players, but we had a little bit of a chat, and everything was resolved after that. It was a normal chat, nothing crazy. And the thing is, I've realized that I have a friend, I'm not going to mention who they are, and you don't know who they are. I've played with them in the past, and I realized now, I'm realizing, oh man, they're actually kind of a problem player. Like they have those things that I tell other people are red flags. Um, the trash truck is gonna pass me by in a second, guys, and I'm gonna mute right when it gets close enough. But it's really it puts you in a weird precarious position when one of your good friends is a problem player and you don't know how to deal with that. You know what I mean? You don't know how to tell them, especially if the thing about some problem players is they don't know that they're problem players. I would say most of them. Hold on, I'm gonna mute while this guy does his work. Hold on. All right, there we go. Yeah, so the thing about gaming and this whole world that we're in with YouTube and people that are within the YouTube community, those of you guys that watch YouTube channels and you're part of communities, you hear about problem players and how to deal with them. You guys are interested in that kind of thing. We're all interested in that kind of thing. But there's a lot of people that have no idea what any of that stuff is. They don't know about problem players. They don't know about any of the GM advice that's out there on the internet. They just know about gaming because somebody introduced them to it, and that's all that they've been exposed to. They have no idea about anything other than that. Any like Discord communities, Facebook groups, they're not involved with any of that stuff. It's them and their four buddies in their local shop or local town that are friends with each other, and that's their complete exposure to the scenario. That's all that they know. And I found that those people usually are subject to being problem players because they don't have the wisdom and knowledge that these communities cultivate onto what is considered a problematic thing and not a problematic thing. So for me to come up to that person and tell them like, hey, you're a problem player because of this, this, and this, to them, it's like, whoa, you're just like you're just hitting me with this like new information. I didn't even know what I was doing was bad. I didn't even know that there's something called a problem player. I didn't even know I was that guy, you know what I mean? So it's my question to you guys is how would you guys gauge that kind of thing? Do you come at them slow and tell them like, "Hey, the thing that you did in our last session was not really kosher. It was problematic. I would have done it differently." Do you tell them like, check out this YouTube video because this YouTube video talks about problem players and you're one of them and this is it. It does a better job of explaining it than me. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. Thankfully, haven't had big problem players too. Same, just a private sidebar for bringing up some issues. That's good. It's always a good thing to be able to have a game and enjoy it without conflict. Yeah. Most problem players can be dealt with by a sidebar, I feel, especially if they are unaware of the problem. I agree, Colby. Ferg says I have zero problem players. Dude, that guy is skateboarding and his dog is pulling him. That's sick. Oh, trash truck is coming back for round two. All right, sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to spare your ears. Sorry to sidetrack from the topic, but do you still have all the video ideas from the patrons? Yeah, I still have all that. To answer your question, I don't think I can answer honestly because I came for you for help because my problem player was my first one I've had. Even though it ended the campaign, maybe it was best to avoid future issues. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's although it's sad that that problem players ruin the campaign, it's honestly inevitable and it's gonna happen. And it's just like any other relationship. For example, the reason my wife and I have such a good relationship with each other is our communication is really good. And, we're like best friends to each other. So if we have something that we want to talk about, we just talk about it. We don't, there's no need to like hide our feelings or any of that stuff. We know the best way to come at each other with a problem. Like I know her so well, she knows me so well, so we can come at each other the right way to talk about things, right? Like Dogecoin. But other people, it's not that cut and dry. If they're your friend and you guys spend time with each other, the only context that you know about how they are is at game table, then it's a different scenario. It's not the same as a relationship that you have with like a significant other. So it's hard to understand what triggers them or what their intentions are without open communication. Um, And what usually happens when you hold things in and you don't talk about it and you don't cover the topics that need to be covered is everything boils over at the end and it erupts like a volcano and it becomes way worse than it ever was, right? Oh, I love what Nicholas XP just said. I'm going to cover that right now. So in the case of my Wise Guys game, there was one player that was a problem player in my eyes, and also in the eyes of some other people in the group. And I let it go. We didn't talk about it. I didn't even bring it up and talk to him on the side about the way that he behaved. And lo and behold, after a year of us playing together, or a year and a half, or however long it was, something happened where it blew over. He was upset about ways that I would run the game, and I was upset about ways that he would play the game. And it basically caused a rift in our group, and it disbanded our group. Now looking back on it, I can see that it was going to happen no matter what. It was always going to happen. It was like a ticking time bomb. No matter what, hot potato, but that thing was going to happen. And that just goes to show you that no matter what, if things are not talked about and resolved beforehand, then the problem's always going to come up. Cheaters are always going to get caught. No matter what, at one point they're going to get caught. Liars are always going to get caught in their lie, because one day it's going to happen. The lies won't add up. You're going to get caught. It's inevitability. It's going to happen. So sometimes when it does happen, we feel bad and sad about it. But the reality is, it was always going to happen. You might not have known that on day one when you guys got together, your group got together, and you've had 7 great sessions in a row. You're probably thinking like, man, there was one little issue, but it's no big deal. We can go past it. Well, that one little issue will fester and get worse, and then it'll all blow over in the end, and you'll realize that that shit was going to happen no matter what. You know what I mean? But I do want to go back to what Nicholas XP said. What is considered problematic? Doing something risky and blowing it for the rest of the team? Question mark. Well, it just depends. I don't think doing something risky and blowing it for the rest of the team is a problematic player. I think that it can be fun, especially if all the other players are like, "Fuck it, let's try it." I know it's risky, but let's risk it for the biscuit, and we'll suffer the consequences if we have to. Maybe everybody's on board with that risk. You know what I mean? So if it does blow it for the rest of the team, okay. But if you don't take into consideration what the other players want to do, or their feelings, or how they feel about a scenario, and you put their characters in danger, unnecessary danger, just for the shits and giggles, just to try something and be fun and funny and troll, then you're a problem player. You're problematic. So the root of that problematic player is they have poor communication and selfishness. It's Problematic players are selfish and disrespectful of other people's time, and just disrespectful of other people. They don't consider other people. They don't consider other people's feelings. They don't consider other people's ways that they like to have fun. They don't put themselves in the other person's shoe. A lot of them do this excuse where they say like, "Oh, I'm just playing my character," but it's like, hey, we all signed up here to play like a cooperative game. It was never talked about in the beginning that like, hey, you might be the asshole. Your character might be an asshole, and they might do things that we don't want your character to do. But that's okay. If that's agreed upon from the beginning, then okay, that's one thing. There was a a video that Seth Skorkowski made where he talked about this sword that this talking sword or whatever. Well, he was talking about one of the players in the group being this guy that doesn't believe in magic. It's a D&D setting, I think. And I'm butchering it, but I think that's the thing. He thinks all magic is bullshit. He thinks it's like sleight of hand and tricks. He doesn't actually believe magic exists, even though it's like a high fantasy world with dragons and all that shit. He just thinks that it's all illusions and bullshit. So when the players are telling him like, "Hey, this thing is trapped with magic. Like, don't touch it," he's like, "Man, I don't believe any of that shit. You guys are a bunch of wacky idiots. There's no magic. Please grow up." And then lo and behold, the trap is set, and then the whole party gets fucked. So the player knows that magic exists, but he's playing a character that doesn't believe in magic. Now the group was okay with it. They think it's funny. Those kinds of scenarios where magic is involved, they're like, oh fuck, they're like worried. Like this idiot doesn't believe in magic, so how's that gonna affect us? Is that gonna ruin us? And that can be fun. That can actually be fun if everybody's on board with it. But on the flip side, if everybody is not on board with it, they'll be like, that's a problem. You know, we just want to play and have fun, and we got this guy over here that doesn't believe in magic, and he's playing this character that doesn't believe in magic. I mean, and it's ruining our fun. So if the way that you want to play is ruining everybody else's fun, and you continue to play that way, you're being an asshole. You're being a problematic player. If you're the My advice to you isn't stop playing that way. It's actually leave the group and find another group that will allow you to play that way if that's how you want to play. But if the group is clearly expressing to you that it's a problem and you keep going that way and you double down and you go like, I'm just playing my character, now you guys don't want me to have fun, there needs to be a happy medium, a compromise where you can also have fun and the other players can have fun, and you can talk shit and say like, oh, these guys don't know how to play. That's like one of the main things that problematic players say is like, they don't know how to play the game. They want to play Hello Kitty Adventure. This is Cyberpunk. Come on, dude. There are social contracts that we sign when we want to play with each other, and they involve, communication and talking to each other about what we like and dislike. So a problematic player, usually at their root, is selfish and disrespectful and inconsiderate. That's basically what it is. And it has nothing to do with how they play their character. It has everything to do with their own personality, like their specific personality. In the example that Twiggy gave us about his D&D campaign, the guy was a vengeful, spiteful, selfish asshole. And he killed the rest of the party because he was upset about something. So he let his emotions get take over, and because of his emotions, he caused a domino effect of things to happen that caused the entire party to lose their characters. You know what I mean? And it ruined his campaign. So one player's decision can ruin everybody's fun. That's a problem player. Mr. Fogel, problem player, ask why they made the choice that was bad to you, then ask what they want from the game, tell them your desire for the game, ask to meet in the middle. If can't, it's your game. Yeah, that's very wise, Mr. Fogel. Punk Generator says, how to be a great game master, has some terrific videos on what makes a good or problem player and GM for that matter. Yeah, and GM. That's right. He has really good videos. How to be a great game master is one of my biggest influences. My problematic person was a murder hobo and wouldn't do any mission while the other two wanted to. It was my way or the highway player. Yeah, that's terrible, dude. Why are you even here? Like, I don't understand. If you're not going to be a part of the group, you're not going to do the thing that everybody wants to do, you're just going to do your own character's wishes and desires. Why are you here? Why are you playing with us? Just go play solitaire. I'll make you a deck of cards that say yes and no on them, and you can solo GM your way through a Cyberpunk campaign the way that you want to play it. Like, for example, John Wick, that the character would be a terrible person to have in your game. He would be great for a one-on-one session if I'm a GM and John Wick is a character, and that's it. It's just the two of us. That's great. The whole story revolves around him. Everybody is a supporting character. He's the one that's up on a pedestal. He's the cool guy that everybody worships. It works. But having that guy be a part of your group, it's like, all right, guys, what are we doing? I say we storm the Arasaka building and we just take the data that we need. It's got to be in one of these rooms. We just go and do it. What do you think about that, John? I only work alone. I'm gonna go out around the back, kill everybody, and steal the data myself. You guys wait out here. That doesn't sound like a fun game, does it? All of us sitting outside eating instant ramen noodles while Mr. John Wick goes in and does everything that he needs to do. And then he says, like, I work alone, stuff like that. Terrible player to have. Terrible. I would hate that. Absolutely hate it. So there's that. Antanas Gudinas. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. In my experience, some of the problem players I met, I realize now, had ADHD and they just have problem playing. But some of us just took it personally and created kind of opposition instead of actually talking. But like problem players by circumstances than the actual problem. I don't. I, that sentence really threw me for a loop. I don't know what you meant there, but I get your original point, which is that we've talked about it a lot on this channel in our live chats. Neurodiversity is a thing. There's a lot of people that in our community, in our hobby, that are probably like the fringe of society. They weren't popular in school. They have difficulty in social interactions, and that's why they buried themselves in this hobby, which ironically is a social hobby if you think about it. It is like one of the most social hobbies out there. You need other people to play. Warhammer is a social hobby, but you only need one friend to play. Cyberpunk is a social hobby, and if you need at least two or three or four friends to have a really good time. Four is the max, five, stuff like that. So you need to know that many people. Those are all different people, different lives, different fucked up shit that's going on in their head. So the idea is that that kind of stuff is going to happen, and it's we're not all equipped to figure it out. Like, I don't have a degree in psychology. I don't know how any of those neurodiverse people live their lives. I don't know what medication they're on or not on, or if they even need medication. I don't know anything. I just know surface value. Like, oh, that guy was being a dick is what I will think if I'm interacting with that guy. I don't know that that guy doesn't know he's being a dick. He has Asperger's or ADHD or something that's going on within him that causes him to be this way. And his intention, which is really hard to figure out, is his intention is he just wants to have a good time and be respectful, and he thinks everything is fine. So the idea of like getting to that intention is really difficult, especially on surface value. It's really good to like get that out of the way from the beginning. Like, hey, I have these issues. So, Twiggy, for example, told me he's like, I have Asperger's. So if I ever, act like an asshole or whatever, it's not because I'm an asshole. It's because I don't know. I don't know what it is. My intention is not to be an asshole. Well, guess what that did to me? That informed me that if anything does come up with him where I'm like, why is he acting that way? I have my answer already. I already have my answer. So there's no need to guess why the person was acting the way they are because I already have my answer. And I can instead talk to them in a calm way and say, like, hey, dude, remember when you told me you have this thing? I think that it kind of came up in this scenario. So just be a little bit more aware. And that's it. And everything was fine from there on. That's it. It was a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation, but you know what? Being a little bit uncomfortable is not a big deal, man. Best things come from being uncomfortable. Overcoming those uncomfortable situations, you come out better at the end of the day, which is exactly what happened. We had a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation. After that uncomfortable conversation, we were better. We had a better relationship with each other than we did before that uncomfortable conversation. So good things come from those uncomfortable conversations. You should be as brave as you can and try to get through them as respectfully as you can. All right. Taylor says, I have a similar character that doesn't believe in the gods in a world where each country is the domain of certain gods. Honestly, fun, but haven't nearly killed a bee with her beliefs yet. So, yeah, see, that's fun. I love that. I love that idea. Let's see. But our most problem player is just like the edgy rogue who does nothing but steal and cause havoc. LOL. And the same person played a John Wick character in Cyberpunk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The edgy rogue is a trope that's what John Wick is. He's just an edgy rogue, the loner, badass that the loner badass that talks to nobody, that's edgy, that's brooding, drinks whiskey straight, then says leave the bottle when they go to the bar. We've seen it all a million times. It's not even interesting, in my opinion. We've seen it a million times. I find it more interesting when characters have flaws and they act a little bit differently, and when they fail. When characters fail, that's more fun to me, to be honest with you. Johnny Silverhand would be a shite player, 100%. 100%. Young Bohemian. I'm mixed on Johnny Silverhand as a character, period. Don't like that the setting, which argues against being the hero, literally makes a main character who moves the plot along instead of you. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. He is the anti. Well, the thing about Cyberpunk as a game, the story and the lore, if you take Johnny Silverhand and the story and everything, it kind of cultivates this attitude of like, style over substance, don't trust anybody, look out for yourself. It's you and the versus the rest of the world. But it's also on the sidebar, it tells you like, it's good to work together, you need friends, you need contacts, you need people that you work with to be able to get through things. So like it's kind of like a juxtaposition. I find it to be a great way to show people that the world isn't just black and white. There's a lot of gray. There's more trash truck coming, by the way. There's the guys that are the loner badasses that don't talk to anybody, and those are really important to have. Those are really, really important to have. But they don't survive. They really don't survive. That's something that Cyberpunk teaches you too. You can be the loner badass that doesn't talk to everybody. It's you against the world, but you're probably gonna die, is what they tell you. Red game, you'd have trouble because Johnny's way or the highway. Yeah, exactly. Nicholas XP, would it help to tell the player about how his actions could unfold negatively before he's executing the action, break game, and go off character to steer a player in the right way? I don't like the idea of steering them in the right way, but I love the idea of setting expectations, which I do all the time. I'll give them a warning. I'll tell them, like, hold on, let me mute for the trash truck. All right, I'm back. Uh, so So what I'll usually do is I'll let the players know, like, hey, I'm just warning you that if you make this decision, which you totally can do if you want to, that these are the unforeseen consequences. And that will give them room to be like, either, yeah, I want to do it, or the other players can offer their insight and be like, hey, I know you want to do this thing, but maybe we could do it this way instead. So you're giving the player an opportunity to make the right decision, basically. I don't like the game masters that are like that just immediately go like, oh, you want to do that? Okay, here you go, boop boop boop, you're dead. Oops, think about it next time. That's not fun. That's not fair. That's not a cooperative scenario. That's the game master versus the player. That's not cooperation. I don't like the game master versus the player scenario. I like the game master cooperating with the players as far as like I'm rooting for you to win. You know what I mean? I'm not actively making sure that you guys win in every scenario, but I'm hoping that you win. Instead, I'm crafting this scenario that's happening, and I'm hoping that you can get through it. You know what I mean? I'm rooting for you to get through it. And even in my preparation, I'm thinking like, can this guy get through it? So basically, I would recommend that you cooperate more than become like an adversary. You know what I mean? Hey, boss. Thank you so much.
Okay, everything good?
Yeah, it's got two layers.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. It is what it is.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens.
I'm trying.
It's hard to do it with the with shingles. Without ripping off a
I
piece.
don't give a fuck. It's not.
I know.
It's just who I'm dealing. The guys are whatever.
I know.
We have meetings all the time, and so I just hired another guy, and who's gonna help do the like oversee stuff.
Yeah.
So I just hired him, and once I get him going, that's gonna be one of the things that he does too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway, thanks for being patient.
No worries. No worries. Thank you for the work.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys. I am at work. Now we're best pals who shite on each other in a certain drinking game. Yeah. Chris Anderson, the way you explain things, the way you appear to think, I feel like you missed your calling as a counselor or therapist. Have I said this before? Your name says it all, Wise. Thanks, Chris. My wife says the same thing. But I think I don't know, man. I make mistakes. I'm not actually that wise. Like I'm just like hyper vigilant, you know what I mean? The trash truck is coming by again. But I'm super hyper vigilant. Like you know when you're like in a public setting and some shit goes down, like, and you're just like, most people, they just sit quietly, they mind their own business, they don't really do anything about it. But I'm the type of person that seeing that scenario happening gives me so much anxiety. I'm just like, I want to get involved, I want to resolve it. And even my wife has to be like, dude, you're not Captain Save a Ho. Back up, leave those things alone. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes my hypervigilance is annoying. Yeah, so what I mean is because of my hypervigilance, I always want to know like how people feel and act. Like I want to know, I want to resolve the issue. And over time, that's made me better at dealing with people because I'm very empathetic as well of their situation. Like I always try to think, you know how it is. Like how can I put this? When I see somebody and how they behave, I immediately think like, okay, what happened to that person? Do they have some kind of past trauma? Do they have something going on with them? Like that's where my mind goes immediately. So I'm always tackling social scenarios in that situation. And because of that, I'm more open-minded on how people feel. When other people would like dismiss somebody and be like, "Oh, that guy's an asshole. Fuck him." Most of the time they're probably right, but sometimes I'm just like, maybe there's something about them that I'm missing. You know what I mean? For example, one of this like great fucking example right here. The local gaming shop by my house, which is like now my second home. I'm there like at least twice a week. The owner of the shop, he when I first moved in the area, I went there, I talked to him. I'm like, I make cyberpunk content. I try to let him know because I'm like, I might film stuff here and I want to be involved. I love the gaming shop. I just love it. And we chatted in that way. He gave me this very like cold demeanor that on surface value seems like he's saying like, who is this guy? I don't give a fuck what you play, what are you doing? You're just another annoying nerd that comes into my shop and bothers me. That's the feeling that I got from him, right? Now my initial thought wasn't to like dismiss him and be like, oh, the guy's an asshole, he doesn't want me at his shop, he's a problem owner. That was my initial reaction. But instead I thought to myself like, maybe I'm coming off a little weird, maybe I'm acting weird. So like I went internal and I thought maybe I'm doing something different. Maybe he's having a bad day, whatever it is. So finally, one day I hit him up on Facebook and I said, "Hey, man, I don't know if we got off on the wrong foot or I said something to upset you, but I get this feeling like you don't want me to be there. You have a problem with me. And last time I came to say hi to you, you kind of like didn't even look at me. So I don't know, man. That's just like the vibe I got from you. So if I did anything, I apologize. And his response was basically like, "No, dude, I have a problem. I'm quiet. I'm social. I have social anxiety. So I really appreciate you supporting my shop and coming in and making it a part of your whole thing. And I really appreciate you. And I would love for you to be a part of my shop and do whatever video recording or whatever you want to do." And ever since then, we've become better friends. Like we're friends now. You know what I mean? I come in, I chat him up, we talk for like 30 minutes. I buy things from his shop all the time. I support him. Even if it takes me like 2 weeks longer to get something, I'll still support him. But that's basically it. If I didn't have that conversation with him, I would have dismissed him, and I would have gone around telling people like, "Oh, that shop, yeah, the owner is an asshole. Don't support him." That's my initial reaction would have been. But thank God I didn't do that, and instead I put myself in his shoes. I thought internally. I thought maybe I did something wrong. Maybe he thinks I'm an asshole. Maybe I whatever I guessed, and then I took the leap and was like, "Hey, if I said anything, I'm sorry, or if I did anything, I'm sorry." I thought he was upset because we were playing Cyberpunk next to him, and one of us was cursing. It's Cyberpunk. And I was like, "Oh man, maybe he got mad about that." He didn't even give a shit about that. You know what I mean? These are the things that you invent in your head when you don't know, like when you're just like guessing. So I invented a problem in my head where I was like, "Oh yeah, he's upset about A or B," and he's like, "I don't. When did you cuss? I don't even know when you cussed." So it was me causing problems. But anyway, sorry about going on that tangent. Later, Punk, you're probably already gone. I'm so sorry. Ferd Clan, I have a player whose character's gimmick is that he is an asshole. Everyone has had a ton of fun with it so far. He does it in a fun and interesting way. There you go. That's it. As long as everybody's on board, there's no problem. Everybody has to be on board. That's the thing. If not everybody's on board, and the way you do that is communication, then that person can be a problem player. It's a very delicate situation. It's like PvP. I usually tell people keep PvP out of your games. It should be PvE, players versus environment, which the GM controls, not players versus player. Because unless everybody's on board with that kind of gameplay, it can cause rifts in the group and cause the group to disband. It's not a good thing to do. So everybody has to be on board. Everybody has to be like, hey, there's going to be times where we might go and fight against each other. You know what I mean? So there's that. John is such a good boss. Antonio Lenzo says, so here's a question: overarching story versus character personal story, colon. My group prefers the more personalized story, which makes making a larger story much harder. Thoughts on this? I'm so glad you asked me that, Antonio, because I have an exact video for that. In my series, there's a playlist on my channel called How to Create Epic Cyberpunk Campaigns. One of the videos, I talk about how you connect your players to the story and to each other and to their own story. So basically, what I do is I write my story from beginning to end without major details, just bullet points. The players go here, they end up here, they kill this guy, season or campaign over. That's what I write. Then I go to my players' backstories and I find out where they came from, who they are, how they react, and then I try to figure out how that would work in my world. If you're a solo, then maybe the main bad guy is one of your arch enemies. You guys were on a mission together and he tried to kill you during the mission. Something like that. You can make up a million different ways to connect people. But that's one way. Another way is I always make sure to list one ally and one enemy from each one of my players. They have a backstory filled with allies and enemies. And it doesn't have to be just friends and enemies from the friends and enemies column, because you could roll zero on that, which I don't personally like. But you could roll zero, but you could still have allies and enemies if a corporation is hunting you down, then there's a corporate exec that is your enemy. Make up that guy's name. Find out who he is. What does he look like? How does he react? What's his motivations? And when I take those people, the allies and enemies, I sprinkle them in throughout the campaign. So session one of my players will have an ally that suddenly contacts the group and says, "Hey, buddy, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh man, you wouldn't believe it. Militech is after me. I stole these schematics from one of their warehouses." Oh, really? What is it? Check this out. Shows you. Here we go. Plot. That was a plot device. I just made that ally part of the plot device. Enemy. Oh, did I say Militech? One of the other players is like, "Oh shit, I have an enemy in Militech. I wonder if it's the same guy." Coincidentally, it could be the same guy. If you want to be a little bit more realistic, you could say the same guy's working with another guy. So it's like they're supporting each other kind of thing. So that's another way to connect it. And now I have one player with an ally that's connected to the story, and I have one player with an enemy that's connected to the story. Next session, I'll do the same thing with some other people. And that's basically down the line. Once you do that, if you have 5 players, in 5 sessions, all of them will be connected to the story. Every single one of them. That's the way I like to do it. Have you ever run the Osiris chip? Mr. Soy Sauce says. No, and I do not know what it is, so if you can let me know, I would love to. By the way, thank you for doing all the Cyberpunk stuff that you do. No problem, Antonio. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for people like you. So I really appreciate it. I know the garbage trucks are in and out here. You mentioned earlier things that other communities cultivated that are unknown to isolated groups. What are they, and how to adapt stuff that is off core book? The communities. There's a link in my description for a Discord community. There's the official R. Talsorian Discord. There are Facebook groups. Other than that, I don't know if there's any other groups. If there are, I'm ignorant to them. I don't know. There might be some old school message boards that some grognards are still a part of. But other than that, those are the only communities in Cyberpunk that I'm aware of. And the cool thing about those communities are we have discussions and then we come up with these like unwritten rules where we all agree like this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. And then you can take it to your life and inject it into the way that you play. So it's like wisdom that you can take with you. You know what I mean? I always say that everybody's experiences and personalities and feelings, if we all can get together and exchange ideas, we assimilate and we create one good we'll find common ground within each other, and it's really good for people. I get this like question all the time from people saying like, am I the asshole because I told one of my players that he was being a problem player because he did X, Y, and Z? And then I'm thinking like, oh my God, X, Y, and Z is like the biggest red flag that I've ever seen. And we talk about it on our Discord all the time. Like, oh, we got another guy that did X, Y, and Z. And here's this poor guy that's not a part of our community that is like questioning himself, thinking like, you know, am I an asshole because I punished him or brought consequences upon him for doing something that he wasn't supposed to? So those communities are really important for cultivating that kind of stuff. Oh, and how to adapt stuff that is off core book. I mean, I always go with what makes sense logically and then go from there. If there's something that you want to do but you're not sure how to do it, just try to figure out first try to figure out how you can do it without worrying about mechanics or anything like that. Just do it and figure it out later when you guys have time. During the game session, it shouldn't be the time that you try to figure out how to do rules or how to figure things out. If you're not good at like thinking on your feet, just move things along, make a ruling that might not seem fair in the situation, and then later on when you're in the shower or you're taking a shit, you can think about all that stuff. I don't know why I didn't say like walking your dog or something. Anything new on the Wise Guys? Yeah, Wise Guys are disbanded, Chris. Sorry about that. We're done. Blackadder and the only 2 people that are still remaining in the Wise Guys are Blackadder, aka DG Ray Triad, and Sam Ectoplasm, aka Jimbosaurus Rex. Those are the only two people that are active. Um, the other two, we had a falling out, and we are no longer friends. I don't think, and we haven't really communicated with each other since our situation. So yeah, some drama, some shit went down. It is what it is. Twiggy, dude, as an Aspie, we invent issues in our heads all the time that don't even exist. I might have Asperger's then. Our minds can be assholes sometimes. It's best to just tackle those fake issues, dispel them, and take it easy. Yeah, I do it all the time. Antonio Lenzo, my name right. Oh, really? Who says it incorrectly? That's weird. It's so easy to say Antonio Lenzo. Anyway, I managed to kill off the two players who were truly connected to the story, and now the group doesn't care about the plot. Ooh. You know what? I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. That is problematic. It is problematic when one of the players dies and you connect them to the story because now like that whole plot thread is gone. But it just requires a little bit more creativity to patch it. That's all it is. You just have to do a little bit more thinking, some thought experiments. And that's why a community is really good where you guys can discuss ideas and you can be like, "Hey guys, this is a situation that happened. I don't know how to deal with it. What are your suggestions?" People can give you suggestions and it'll spark inspiration for you. So I don't think that that should make you avoid doing it. I think that it is an exception, not the rule. You know what I mean? I would still try to figure a way to do it. Ad Tolly says at Twiggy. Okay, nope, sorry, that wasn't towards me. Uh, bu- 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 uh, Mr. Soy Sauce, the Osiris chip is a 2020 module, and I'm about to run for my players on Foundry. Just want to know if you ran it to ask for tips. I've never run any modules for any RPGs that I've ever played. I was introduced to tabletop gaming with the idea that you make everything. I didn't even know that modules existed until like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And then that's when I realized, like, oh shit, there's adventure books and campaign books. Some people, that's how they exclusively play. I've never even known that that's how you can play. So, like, for me, the fun part is actually making the story. I'm not opposed to running modules, and I will be running modules in the future. But I just haven't done it in the past. So I haven't run any of the 2020 stuff ever. I've always written my own kind of thing. Hi, Twiggy. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can ask me anything. Hi, Twiggy. I invent things in my head like that too. And your experience is that Aspie thing. Okay, you guys are talking your own thing. All good. Toilet based development is a real thing. Sorry, John. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that the wise guys, about the wise guys. I love that group. It was fun while it lasted. We had really good times. There was issues that were happening in the background that we all ignored, include especially me, that bubbled over and became a big problem. And it is what it is. There's no avoiding it. When I started the Wise Guys, my channel was barely brand new. These were friends that I made from my Twitch days, and I wasn't sure how to do things. I'm a different person now. I'm a different content creator now. I'm a father now. Like when we started it, I wasn't even a dad. I don't even think I was married when we started. Was I? No, I think I was married. I was friends with them before I was even married though. But yeah, it's just how it goes, man. That's life. Life is like that. People come and go. The memories last forever. And the reason I haven't taken down any of those videos is because memories last forever and there's good times and people still enjoy them. So there's a positive to come out of it. For me personally, though, it's really painful for me to watch any of those videos or to be involved with that stuff. Uh, yeah, because of the falling out and everything that happened. But like I said, it's life. That's how it goes. A lot of gaming groups fall apart like that. So, I don't take it too personally. It's happened to me before. Groups have fallen apart before. I've seen other people's groups fall apart. So, it's just a lesson to be learned, and it's just a part of gaming, man. It is what it is. It left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but I've been having fun playing with the Patreon folks. I've been having fun playing Cyberpunk. I still love doing Cyberpunk stuff. So the hobby outweighs the group in that sense. I'll continue doing what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm sorry to everybody else that loved the Wise Guys. Two players won the Night City Lotto and caught the attention of corpos who used the Night City Lotto winners for a body lotto that rich people bet on. Ooh, I like that idea. That's funny. My wife is hitting me up. I think I'm gonna end this really soon. Let me just tell her. Have you ever tried GURPS Cyberpunk? I have not. I've never tried GURPS. I heard it's really fun. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, sorry about that. Just letting my wife know that I'm doing a live chat. Yeah, so as far as GURPS go, I've never done GURPS. I know that there's a cyberpunk setting. I know that there's a Cthulhu cyberpunk setting as well. It's interesting. I would love to try it out. I have no idea how it works or anything like that. From what I understand, it's a universal role playing system. Right? It's in the name, General Universal Role Playing System. I think that's what it's called, and it's basically like you can inject it into any other setting. Right? It's a cool idea. I actually really like that idea, but I've never tried it. Uh, Twiggy says sometimes conflict arises and groups disband. Sometimes it's hard. Excuse me. Sometimes it's for the better. It's best to look back, learn from the mistakes of all involved, and move forward with new perspectives. Exactly. That's it. Don't take it personally. This back and forth continued for 12 sessions, and one player got nabbed walking around by herself. The other went into hiding off the grid and far away. Wow, that's a crazy ending. Yeah, in Cyberpunk, the endings for players are usually, or characters are usually death or retirement or going off in some fucking weird place. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, wise guys. Good entertainment though. You getting a new group together at all? Question mark. Love how you run games. Thank you so much, Atoli. Yeah. I have some things lined up for the future. Better content creation, better quality, higher production value. I'm gonna be doing it big. I mean, bigger. I'm gonna be improving on what I've already done. So there's gonna be improvement to the situation. It's gonna be great, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. At the end of this month, you'll get a little bit of a preview of what's coming up because I have something special for you guys. Also, I'm in Austin, Texas too. Hell yeah, that's where the wise guys were. Let's see here. Thank you for the video, John. John, no problem, Mr. Fogel. Anytime. Anxiety. Please FaceTime me when you're done. Your son is driving me nuts. He wants to talk to you. Okay, babe. I will. I swear to God. Josh Sawyer from Obsidian plays Cyberpunk with Savage Worlds rules I saw on Twitter. Neat. Oh, cool. That's nice. Random thought. The Cyberpunk red GM screen. What city is that? I believe it's Night City. I mean, I think we can all safely assume it's Night City. All right, guys. I caught up with chat. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support and love and everything. If you guys really want to show that extra bit of support, patreon.com/JonJonTheWise. For as little as $5, you can show me some support, and I really appreciate it. It helps with buying microphones and cams and all the other things that I want to do for the channel, and it helps me in that way, and I really appreciate it, guys. And other than that, if you know you can't find yourself to do that, it doesn't matter. Liking, subscribing, being a part of this chat, all that stuff, I greatly appreciate it. It means so much to me. Please go out there, support other content creators as well in Cyberpunk. If you're looking for more, hit me up. There's a bunch. Follow me on social media. If you want more updates on that, I always retweet and try to shout out other content creators as well because it should be a community, right? So, love you guys. Thank you all so much. Twiggy, I'll see you tonight for our Patreon game. Other than that, have a wonderful week, Chumbas. Have a good one. Love you all. Take care. Bye bye.